Hello and welcome to Political Smackdown. We're happy you could join us today for Political Smackdown's episode this week. We have our regulars here in Mr. Andrew T. Dedman and Wes Westmoreland, and we have our more or less permanent substitute for Betsy or Andy, Roger Harris. Roger, happy to have you with us today.
It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Is he allowed to wear a Republican shirt on this show?
Well, let's just be glad that I've got on a blue one, Roger.
That's
so
right.
We kind of offset each other. On June the 9th, as was mentioned last week at the end of our show, the town of Bowling Springs had a meeting that had been scheduled the week before because they had found that they could save over $100,000 a year in their general liability property insurance policy. So they had representatives from the current provider who has been there about 50 years as Bowling Springs insurance provider, and a representative from the North Carolina League of Municipalities, the League of Municipalities, as well as the Association of County Commissioners in North Carolina. They have pools where they are in charge of pooling with all the cities and counties, and they get good rates apparently because over 400 of the cities in North Carolina use the League's insurance, and over 70 of the counties use the Association of County Commissioners insurance. But Bowling Springs was still using a local person who had a very big presence in Bowling Springs for decades, literally about 50 years. But they could not decide the week before. They wanted more information, and so they heard for both in a meeting that lasted less than an hour. They heard from both potential providers for next year. And after a discussion, we'll talk more about the discussion, they finally did vote 4-1 to change the policy from Maxwell B. Hamrick Insurance that had had it for a long time to going through the North Carolina League of Municipalities Insurance. And one of the members who made the motion, I believe, said that it had nothing to do with the current provider. It was simply about saving the citizens of the town money, which is over $100,000 a year it will save, and Bowling Springs is not that big a place. That's a pretty significant amount of money, and I believe in a previous article I read it was the equivalent of about 2.5 cents on their tax rate. So one member did say he thought they should stick with Maxwell B. Hamrick this year, and then maybe bid it next year, but the other four decided not to do that. So I'll let Wes get us started about this. Wes, as a council member, was this the right thing for them to do? And apparently there's not a bidding process required for insurance, but it probably should be at least every third year or something. But it's sad in a way, but we sort of understand what they're doing in a way. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, the council has their first responsibility is to the taxpayer. This appears to be a pretty substantial savings. I don't know what percentage the difference was, but $100,000 is pretty substantial anywhere you go. But I do think we have to recognize that the playing field's not level. Local insurance company is based in the city. It pays city taxes. It has employees that pay city taxes, not to mention the causes and the volunteer time. The League of Municipalities based in Raleigh is tax exempt. So, you know, on the face of it, if the tax rate in Bowling Springs were not as high and the league not exempt from taxes as a nonprofit, certainly would have been a difference in the bid. Certainly Hamrick would have lower costs involved. Also, the coverage is not the same. The league, for instance, doesn't have umbrella coverage, which the city has been for the past years had over the regular insurance. And the League of Municipalities coverage is a pool, not traditional insurance. And there are times when these pools don't allow a member to pull out when their rates go up. They have to sign on for a set amount of time. Council obviously believes that the pool is capable of paying out a series of large claims, which maybe they can, until they can't. Only time will tell about that. Mike, you mentioned the community involvement. Small businesses, you run one. We're asked and expected to be generous. Buy ads and everything, purchase raffle tickets for everything, sponsor the Little League team, volunteers for the parade. The list is endless, and it's invaluable to the community, and Hamrick Insurance has certainly done that. By contrast, the league is exempt from taxes and is exempt from having to do all these things as well. Ultimately, elected officials have to consider these issues. A solution is to lower taxes, do away with the laws that allow these unlevel fields, like you mentioned with the credit unions. At the end of the day, council has to make these decisions. They've made it, have to trust they're the right decision. It's a tough position to be in.
Well, Andy, I get a lot of what Wes is saying. It's not really an even playing field sometimes for a broker, even like Maxwell B. Hamrick. But most of the cities and most of the counties use their association's pools simply because it does save the taxpayer money. What are your thoughts?
I still don't understand where Wes is at on this. He was all around on both sides of it because it is a tough one. I mean, it really is. I mean, you've got your taxpayers on one hand, then you've got one probably I think he's the only insurance company in Boiling Springs who's been there forever and has done just like Wes, what you said. They've done all that kind of stuff that we've all had to do to give back to our community. But $100,000, I mean, my goodness, especially, I'd like to see it delved into more to get apples to apples. That's what you really got to have,
Right.
because you don't get the same thing. Is it $100,000 less because they have less coverage than they do from Hamrick? I mean, that to me is what you have to do. You just can't just jump out and say, we're going to save $100,000. Well, what are you getting?
Well, I think that's what the town council there did, though, in that week, was they were able to compare differences, and they still, 4 of them still believed that they probably needed to make the change.
Yeah.
Well, and that's when it gets down to it. It's all about the Benjamins, Michael. Always is. And if you can save 2.5 cents on property tax rate, you know, it's hard to turn that down.
Roger, you and I are the two here that have served in local government. I think I would have had a hard time not voting to save $100,000 on an insurance policy.
And I would have as well. That had to be one of the hardest votes that these council members have had to make, because we understand that if you live in a small town like Boiling Springs, it's not just the insurance company that's down the street. You live in the neighborhood with those folks. You go to church with them. Your kids play ball with their kids. You shop at the same places. I mean, it's a small town. Everybody knows everybody. Some of your family has married some of their family. You know, it's that kind of thing, and it's a hard thing. And this Maxwell B. Hamrick Insurance, I know at Crest High School they were sponsors of everything we were asking for. They always bought an ad in the yearbook and all those things. They support the schools. They support youth programs. Even the shop with the cop that the Boiling Springs Police do. They were one of the sponsors of those things. But $100,000 is a lot of money to a small town. In a place like Charlotte or Raleigh, that's just a rounding error. But that's about what the town of Boiling Springs spends on its entire police department for a year. That's a lot of money, $100,000 in a small town. I get that it was hard, and you could sort of tell whenever Billy Ellis's motion did not get a second, and the other councilman, Ron Wood, I think, made the motion. A long time passed before he got a second on his motion. You could tell those council members really didn't want to second that motion, even though they knew that financially, not with the heart, but with the head, financially it was the right decision to make. And I respect that it was tough, but you know, if you're going to save your taxpayers $100,000, that's a hard thing to do. The easy vote would have been just to keep doing what we've been doing for 50 years. That would have been the easy vote. But these guys, I respect them. It was the hard vote that they took, and that was tough.
Well, and I agree. Tough vote, probably the vote that needed to be taken, but I'll make you a bet. They're not going to lower the tax rate by 2.5 cents. They'll
Well-
raise it, and Hamrick will be less competitive on everything else they do because of it.
Well, that was one of my questions, but I believe at the previous meeting, Boiling Springs already adopted its budget with the same tax rate it had last year after reval, which did not go to revenue neutral.
That's right.
And so now they've got 2.5 cent windfall. Are they going to return it to the people? And I'll be honest, I'm not even sure, if June 30th hadn't come and gone, I don't know if they could amend their budget or would even consider it to lower the tax rate, even a part of that 2.5 cents.
I don't know that there's any appetite to do that.
Yeah, well,
Never is.
that might bring us to another subject another week about the property tax amendments that are coming and so forth. Well, folks, we do applaud the town of Bowling Springs for their deliberation over 2 meetings, and then obviously still it was not a pleasant vote, and I have to say I cannot imagine not voting for something that would save that much. It was the difference between 347 and 246,000, and maybe a little less than that. I don't know if they have to get a umbrella policy separate that'll cost a few $1,000s or not, but obviously they have done what most cities have already done in North Carolina and got their insurance through this pool, which apparently does save the citizens of the town indirectly money. Well, folks, we're going to go to break a little bit early, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Dr. Stephen Fisher's final monthly update to the board and the continuing saga of Marion School.
I understand. I know it's not your typical resume.
Okay, well,
But candidate. But I've been working double shifts just to pay for books. I've been raising my 2 little brothers. I'm determined, driven, motivated. Isn't that what you're looking for?
Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org.
Tune in to Senior Moments here on C19 TV. I am Jackie Sibley Newton with Terabella Assisted Living. Whether you are a senior planning for your own future or helping someone make decisions, Senior Moments has got information to share. We talk about the wealth of services, activities, and healthy living options available to you here in our area. That's Senior Moments on C19 and also on C19.tv.
Welcome back to the second half of Political Smackdown. Well, this past week, Dr. Stephen Fisher, the superintendent of Cleveland County Schools, who announced his retirement earlier this year, effective June 30th, had his final regular monthly meeting. You can see him there in the picture being awarded the longleaf pine. It comes from the governor indirectly. And each board member commented about his tenure and gave him their thoughts and appreciative remarks about his accomplishments. Andy, you remember when Dr. Fisher, we were doing this program when he got appointed, and he didn't get a unanimous vote, not because not because one didn't like him, but because they thought they needed somebody from the outside at the time. And give us your thoughts on Dr. Fisher's tenure.
Well, let's start with a little trivia. Who did he replace at Crest High School as principal?
I think I know.
I think that would be our own Roger Harris.
Okay.
So I like trivia. Anyway, I'm glad he finally was able to go out on his own power. He wasn't carried out on a backboard by some of these folks on the school board that can't stand him. He held on. I think he did as good a job with this board as he could do. Now, I still have problems with when he wanted to sue the sheriff that time. It's a wonder he didn't get fired over that one. And I'm sure Roger could tell us some secret stuff there about that one. But, overall, I mean, I don't see how anybody can really find that much fault with what the man did. I think he did, in my opinion, I thought he did a good job. School system seems to be running pretty good right now. Doesn't seem to be any real major problems other than what there normally is in a school system. But I think I'm glad all 9 of them said kind things about him, and he left on good terms, and that's very important to me.
A couple of them kind things just means they didn't say anything ugly.
Well, they didn't call him an SOB, so I mean, that's all right.
Roger, you actually served as a school board member while Dr. Fisher was there.
I was.
So give us your thoughts on his tenure.
And Andy's right. The night he was hired, the vote was 6-3 in favor of hiring him. There were 3 school board members that voted against hiring him. I was one of those 3. It was me and Donnie and Danny Blanton voted not to hire him, not because we didn't like the man or thought he was not going to do a good job, but we had done a community survey, and about 70% of the citizens said, get somebody from outside our community, start fresh from outside, and that was the motivation for my vote. So that was the purpose for that thing. But Dr. Fisher has been an exceptional superintendent. In my term, I've worked with a number of superintendents, Gene Moore and Mickey Church and Vince Colombo and just lots and lots and lots. One of the things that I always saw about Stephen Fisher from the beginning was the man acted very much like a coach. He was a teacher at heart and a coach at heart, and treated everybody the same. And just like a good coach, if you make a mistake, they'll guide you in the direction you need to go in, but they're not going to browbeat you. They're going to head you in that direction. They're going to encourage you when you do the right thing. And I saw him do that over and over with everybody from cafeteria workers and housekeepers and bus drivers to teachers and principals. He was fundamentally a coach. He is a man of incredibly strong Christian faith. He does not tolerate dishonesty, and I saw that happen a few times where people would turn in reports where they had embellished something or other, and Stephen Fisher did not tolerate that. He was a coach at heart. He's a really, really, really smart man, and created this kind of tagline of I believe in Cleveland County schools. And public schools now have a lot of competition out there in getting students. It's not like it was 50 years ago. There's competition with charter schools and private schools and home schools and lots of competition out there. But that saying of I believe in Cleveland County schools is a good tagline. The man's only 52 years old. He's not ready to go and sit on the porch or just go fishing. I don't know what he has in line next. The rumor I hear is that he may be going into the ministry, but I've not had that conversation with him, and I may just be spreading a rumor. But anyway, that's what I hear. But he's done good.
Well, Wes, Dr. Fisher, among other things, was the superintendent as the board over 2 election cycles went from nonpartisan to partisan, and that caused him a lot of new issues to deal with.
Well, it did. I think he dealt with a lot, and I think all things considered, he did a good job leading Cleveland County schools through some, I'm not going to say turbulent times, but difficult times.
Difficult.
I think is maybe the best way to say it. Mr. Harris, like you, my relationship with Dr. Fisher really began in what could have been a difficult way. You voted against him, but he always treated you fairly.
Right.
Having been a founder at Pinnacle, a charter school competition, as I became the board chair here at the community college, Dr. Fisher and I had a very good, very open relationship, great communication, and that didn't have to be.
Right.
But it was because it was so important to Cleveland County schools from his perspective, which needed the community college as the college did him.
That's right. And I can say there were some people on the superintendent's staff that did not support his cooperation.
But he did the right thing for Cleveland County schools.
Right.
And I think we can say that without question. I think you can read the comments from the other board members and get the same feeling. So congratulations, Dr. Fisher, and congratulations on the longleaf pine. Quite an honor.
Well, I appreciate Dr. Fisher always returning my calls. I will say that. The few times I've needed to talk to him about an issue we were going to talk about or something, and I knew he would have background that would be helpful, he has never failed to return my call as quickly as he could, and I think that says a lot for a public official when they will do that. He gave them 5 things to remember, but I'm going to read to you from a ShelbyIndependent.com article, his closing statement, and then we'll move on. Dr. Fisher closed by saying to that board, I can honestly say I have loved serving as superintendent of Cleveland County Schools. It's been an awesome opportunity, and I appreciate the board in 2014 investing in me, giving me the opportunity to lead people, processes, to lead the district. But really it is for the superintendent's perspective to partner with the wonderful people in the district to make things better for our students, staff, schools, and community. God bless you all. And he closed by thanking everyone. And so congratulations and best wishes in the future, Dr. Fisher. Real briefly, stay on the schools just a minute. Ebenezer Baptist Association this past week raised the bid to $508,000 for the Old Marion School property that started at $253,000 on April 13th. There have been 3 bidders who have gone back and forth. Just quickly, we'll start with Wes again. Wes, will it go higher, or will it go now, or are you surprised?
I'm not going to predict an auction, never have, and don't intend to start now. I don't know. I think it well established that the value of that property is more than the 150,000 whatever. But boy, it sure is dragging things along. So we'll see where it goes.
Well, that's the way these bid processes work. I know you're a little surprised it's gotten over $500,000.
I am very surprised, Mike. I just did not see the value with the amount of work that's going to have to be done on that school that's been sitting there and has had problems forever over there with various things. School, it's an old school building, and it's been added on to, if I remember correctly, and it's
Bunch of times.
and it's just it's going to be tough to make it usable. But these 3 groups feel like they can, so I say more power to them.
Roger?
I agree. You know, it's taken a long time, but there's more dollars in the bank for the school system. I hope it goes on for another 10 years.
Well, I'm a little surprised it's at 508, but you got to realize 2 of the 3 bidders, we kind of know what they would do with it. They would be nonprofit type things and religious type things that I believe could be done in that building as it stands. The 3rd person, we're not real sure, I'm not at least, of what he might would do if he wins out. But we'll see. They have to buy, the time you see this, most of you, there'll be another bid or it'll be over. All right, let's move to another topic. It was announced this week by the State Health Board that for North Carolina retirees and some older employees who are on Medicare, and most of them, many of them are on Medicare Advantage as their supplement, that this will affect 177,000 people. We have 2 of them sitting at this table, and they're going to save the plan $54 million next year, leaving only a $58 million deficit in the health plan. That sounds kind of interesting. But it will mean, to close that gap some, that people who have the Medicare Advantage plan will have higher premiums and higher copays than they have had in the past. And I'm going to let Mr. Harris get us started because I know he's on that and knows a lot about it. Mr. Harris, it's going to be good for the state, but it's going to cost something to the retirees and other older workers that are on Medicare.
It will. I'm on the Medicare Advantage and have been for a number of years. Everybody knows medical expenses continue to rise, and that's not something unique to public employees. Private employees face the same thing. Out-of-pocket maximum under the insurance now is going to go from $4,000 to $4,500. Some of the copays are going to go up. Some of them as much as 50%. But I think the difference maybe is this, that for young people, and by young people I mean those under age 50, they don't go to the doctor that much. You know, the copays are there, but they don't go to the doctor that much. But for elderly, it's a significant expense. We all know that grandma's going to go to the doctor a lot. It's a significant expense, and these people, these retired state employees, they're on fixed income. They can't change jobs. They can't work extra hours to get their money up. And you know, you think, well, prices of everything goes up, gasoline and groceries and everything goes up. But for the retirees, there has not been an adjustment in their pensions in a number of years. The last COLA, cost of living adjustment, that state employees got was in 2016. This is 2026. 2016 was the last COLA adjustment. There have been some bonuses, one-time bonuses, but that was the last COLA. With great respect to Dale Falwell, our previous treasurer, and I had great respect for that man. In retrospect, he maybe invested the pension fund too conservatively. Did not make good returns on that investment. The new treasurer, who's also a Republican, seems to be investing a little more wisely. Maybe at some point in the future, a COLA will come about with those new funds.
Wes, I know your heart just bleeds for these state retirees.
Well, the lesson here seems to be, don't depend on the government. I'll yield my time.
Andy?
Well, when I got to Raleigh in January of 1997, the state health plan was deep in the hole. When I left in December of 2002, it was still in the hole. This has been an ongoing systematic problem, and I think they thought when they were going to move it from Blue Cross Blue Shield to Humana that something major savings were going to be incurred. Well, they have not been. So this is a problem, it's ongoing, this is a stopgap to pass it along, but until General Assembly really decides to try to work with the state auditor to try to figure out what's going on with this, it's never going to be fixed.
Well, to Treasurer Briner's, I think, credit, he made the statement, or I read the statement that he made, that one of his goals is this had to happen to stop the gap, but he's hoping to make enough progress that the General Assembly will begin to give retirees actual raises instead of one-time bonuses.
Yes.
And that one of the reasons they probably haven't, Roger, is because they've been absorbing more and more of the health costs.
Well, and that's why I'd like to see a state auditor be involved with this too, because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be looked at along with the treasurer.
All right, well, we're going to move to the lightning round. Wendy, you want to start?
Oh, I got a good one for Wes. I tell you never do know what's going to happen with the General Assembly when they get down there, but they have decided, the bill was introduced, that they want to charge an extra $10 at the door of every strip club in North Carolina. That is with the money going to the Sexual Assault and Rape Crisis Center Fund that's used by North Carolina Council on Women.
How much is that going to cost you?
No, it ain't gonna cost me anything.
And they're calling it a poll tax.
That was a good one. But that's the thing about it, and people are starting to say, well, what about freedom of speech and all like that? Because they feel, some people would say that if you nude dancing is artistic expression. So they're all over the place like this. It just never fails to fascinate me what they can come up with down there.
Roger?
Just when you think the White House decisions couldn't get any more silly, President Trump rises to the challenge. 2 weeks ago, the president appointed Housing Chief Bill Pulte as Director of National Intelligence. Mr. Pulte has zero experience in the national intelligence community. He's been serving in the Housing Financial Administration. Mr. Pulte is 38 years old and he worked with housing and mortgages. The man from Freddie Mac is being placed in charge of the CIA and the National Security Administration and 18 different intelligence agencies. In related news, Roger Harris has been appointed Chief Political Advisor to Fox News. Wes Westmoreland will be the new Chancellor at UNC Chapel Hill, and School Board member Danny Blanton has been appointed to head the Atomic Energy Commission. Film at 11.
All right, Wes, can you contain yourself?
No, I think we should end there. On this Flag Day, June 14th, I hope we're reminded of the definition of the word freedom, which simply means the absence of coercion. As we wrap ourselves in patriotism celebrating America's 250th birthday, I hope we will remember that the flag stands not just for a collection of 50 states, but the values upon which we were founded. Happy Flag Day.
Hey, here.
Well, we have a little time, so I'll do one that's a little different. An amendment specifying the role of the pastor in the act of preaching as limited to men only, brought by the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary's President Al Mohler, received the first of two required two-thirds votes by the messengers on June 10th to become a part of the Southern Baptist Convention Constitution. Of 8,074 votes, 76.66% were in favor, and 20 votes were disallowed and 2,026 against. The Truth and Unity Amendment also will have to have a two-thirds majority next year because to change the Southern Baptist Convention Constitution requires 2 consecutive years, two-thirds vote. Come back next week for Political Smackdown.